Hello and welcome to a really quick but good and interesting episode about love or the journey of love. Um, Probably also slightly about twin flames, just a tiny amount because everyone's crazy about twin flames in the spiritual community. Literally fucking bonkers. So, and I mean, there's a lot of conversation going on in general around all of that. There's also probably a definite pull for people to look into this aspect. So we're like talking about it. Uh, it's definitely a thing that most people are going to be working through the entire upcoming year, and many are like setting the foundation for their upcoming life with it. At least who's in like in the starseed category and also on the romance journey side of things. Definitely not for everyone, but still. Yeah.
I mean, I do want to add a few disclaimers to that statement.
Yeah, I could see that.
It's
That's why I shut up.
um not everyone has a twin flame that is incarnated. One, like okay, first off, uh we'll give the definition of twin flames in a second for
Mhm.
those that don't know that. Um in fact, let's do that first because I feel like that's a great place to start. Um, so the easiest way to explain what a twin flame is, it's kind of like uh before we had the term twin flame, we had the term the one.
Mhm.
Um, are you trying to find your one? And it's that person for you. Now the one in terms of when we're talking about soul connections can be the one for that lifetime. Twin flame is the other half of you. It is the yin to your yang. Uh, and so the way that I like to, I guess, define it and describe it is it's like we're each made of masculine and feminine parts. And twin flames have an aspect of masculine and feminine in them individually. And the divine masculine, which can be the man, it can also be the woman.
Mhm.
Um, but more frequently is the man. And the divine feminine, normally the woman, but can also be obviously the man. Uh, they each have opposites of them. So they have both feminine and masculine traits. And together they make up a whole if they're a twin flame. Now, that does not mean that they aren't whole within themselves, separated from each other. They are. It's like, think of it as having 200% in the whole and then 100% on either side. Now, how that makeup goes, if the masculine is like 60% masculine and 40% feminine, the feminine will have 60% feminine and 40% masculine to make up that round 100%.
Mhm.
And that can vary from twin flame to twin flame. That's twin flame in a nutshell. When you've got soulmates, it's people that you've had a number of lifetimes with. And experiences with, and that can be a beautiful, pure experience. And then you've got karmic, which is generally tends to be really fast paced, quick relationships that there's a huge draw of attraction to that person. And then it kind of generally tends to blow up pretty quickly. Not always, but more often than not, blow up pretty quickly and get really dense heavy, and there's a lot of karma and a lot of lessons that need to be learnt. The only other thing I will add just now is when twin flames come together, they generally have some sort of purpose, not only for themselves, but for the community and people externally to themselves as well. It's not just a meeting of two people and continuing on. It's like a meeting, and then there's I guess the easiest way to explain it is there's a mission of, and that mission may be, it can be as simple as having a child and raising a child together, or it can be going and creating, you know, a new school system or business or whatever it is, together. So that's just the gist and basics of twin flames. Now, going back to the disclaimer, not everyone has twin flames on the planet. Not everyone is meant to experience the twin flame journey this lifetime. Then that doesn't mean that you are not going to experience the twin flame journey on your soul journey. It just means that it isn't the focus for you in this life. It doesn't mean that you're not going to have the most amazing romantic situation ever in the world and fall in love and have a great time. In fact, um, sometimes
This is a
actual
party
twin
pooper.
flame relation,
This is a party pooper
yeah,
note. This is like, oh, sorry.
actual like proper relationships take work.
Hmm.
And as your twin flame is your other half, they're also your strongest mirror. They're going to trigger you, they're going to challenge you, they're going to push you to continuously grow. If you're not prepared to continuously grow within yourself for the rest of your life, twin flame relationship is not for you.
Hmm. And
If you're okay with that and you're okay to work with that person, and they've also, by the way, got to be okay with that as well. If
exactly.
you're okay to work with that person on the stuff that's going to pop up for you, go ahead.
Yep.
But it may not be your journey this life. We choose different journeys at different points in time. You may meet them and you may have a few experiences with them and then they may disappear. Everyone's is going to be slightly different. But just because you end up with a soulmate doesn't mean that you can't have aspect of the twin flame marriage of doing mission and having romance and love and growing together. You can create that within your own relationship and within your own environment, within friendships, friends, romantic partners, family members, whatever it is that is external to the romantic side.
Yep. That is a
So
perfect. Because most
that's kind
people
of
get lost in
disclaimer
it.
that not everyone,
No.
like, you just saying everyone, not everyone.
Um, yeah, no, when I said that everyone's like crazy about it in the spiritual community, that's what I meant, that everyone's crazy about it in the spiritual community. The point that like whether everyone is on the journey or not is completely different and how they're gonna experience like that's kind of the point of what I said is like there's gonna always be misconception about it, and I think people are always gonna buy into it a lot hotter than need be because it's not necessarily even gonna be a romantic journey. Sometimes when you have twin flames and then you have like romantic soulmate or like healing around romance, they don't connect. They don't correlate. Your twin might be just a friend that kind of opens something for you and lets you go do that for yourself on your own. Some,
I will say generally there is a romantic-esque aspect. That doesn't mean they necessarily are
yeah.
together, but there's an draw and an attraction to each other.
Mhm. True.
I haven't I haven't met a twin flame couple, like a true twin flame couple, and I've met quite a few over the years that are like, we're like bro and sis.
No, yeah,
There's
that's not.
there's there's no attraction between there's generally a huge, immense, strong attraction between the two of them, even if they're not necessarily together.
Mhm.
And they'll acknowledge that.
Mm.
Um, which is why, like, you hear of stories of people meeting their twin flames and getting out of marriages. And they're like, I can't live without this person. Like, I had a stable marriage and everything's fine. And now I need to get the fuck out.
Yeah. Um, I feel like there's also a really important note though that there's like there's real twin flame journeys or experiences or being really on that journey, and then there's fake experiences that you build up to become that thing because of a deep desire of this whole ideology of what a twin flame journey is on a soul level
Mhm.
romantically. And honestly, if you're not at the point in time where you're working on your twin flame journey or you haven't met that, you don't know exactly what that is, that's not a wrong thing or bad. I feel like a lot of people try getting to that point and get lost on the journey, being like, hey, you can focus on romance without even having this label one and two. That's not really the point.
I
Especially,
mean, I was pretty lucky in the sense that I kind of started the twin flame journey myself. Um, I had no clue what the hell was going on. Like,
mm,
it wasn't until like I think 2 or 3 years later, someone said to me, "I think you might be going through the twin flame journey," and I was like, "Huh? What is that?"
yeah.
And even then, I remember actually saying to this person, like, it seems different.
I mean, yeah, it always seems different.
um, And that's the thing. Every twin flame journey is going to be different. What I will say is a lot of the people, now that twin flame is such a concept that's out there, a lot of people do tend to meet a
Hmm.
false flame or several false flames before they actually meet their true one. And when we're talking about false flame, it's someone that is there to teach you and prepare you for that person that is going to come in.
Yep. I also need to clarify, or feel like I need to clarify, a false twin flame journey and a fake twin flame journey are two different things. Completely different. A false twin is a step on the twin flame journey. A fake twin flame journey is basically a fabrication of your own huge longing and desires, and usually is tied into more self-love things rather than you actually going on that journey and having to work through it. There is a difference. Probably some people mix it up a little bit. I mean, all around.
I mean, all around, it's so easy to
Get lost.
mess, get lost and mess this. And I've had several conversations with not necessarily people with that are believing they're on the twin flame journey, but their friends or family members, um, who are concerned because they're like, this person is losing their shit.
Mhm.
Um, I had a conversation years ago now of a family friend of a lady who she actually ended up with a restraining order because she's like, "Here's my twin flame, and I'm gonna." He was married, he had kids. He's like, "Oh, I'm not part of this. Like, stay away, please."
Yeah.
And she kept going. So I think it's important for anyone that's on the twin flame journey, respect where they're at,
Mhm.
right? Just because they're your twin or you think that they're your twin, um, if you go in there, even if they are your twin, and you go in there and you destroy their marriage or whatever, you're actually, let's say that you then get together, you're bringing that karma from that relationship into your relationship that you're going to have to work through
Yep.
with that person for the rest of your life until you've cleared it.
And if you don't, then it's gonna come back in a different lifetime. That's always fun.
Yeah. And it's going to be more intense because it's with your twin.
Mhm.
So what would the karma that would be from that if they weren't your twin would be, quite low, and you might not even have any, like if there's in some agreements in this life.
Mhm.
With your twin, you're going to want to clear that debt. That's part of what they're there to do, is to clear the karma or help you clear the karma that you have.
Yep. There is a thing of there being like a link and a tie in terms of how one experiences, like one twin experiences themselves as another is going through baggage or karma, or how that process is going. In general, if there is, like, let's say, some type of break, like the one that you just mentioned with the whole marriage situation and etc., both are gonna be hit by it. Like, there is no way of making it one-sided. So you might as well not go there because you're kicking yourself in the ass double. as well as kicking another person double. It's unavoidable. Better off just doing your best to help the best you can, um, and then just taking that for whatever it is. There is obviously a notion, like in general in spirituality, if you start going through something that's very intense, has a lot of emotions, and also like a lot of, preconceived either messages or synchronicities and etc., that doesn't instantly, mean that you can go to the most extreme decision or circumstance or obsession and be okay with it. You still need to have your own balance and clarity and exercise, discernment for what is the best course of action for yourself, as well as anyone surrounding you, especially when like really high emotions are involved and very deep ties that can affect a soul for lifetimes. Um, it's not really to be taken lightly. It's also really, it takes a lot of patience and, I don't know, just strife, I guess.
Courage.
Courage. Yeah, that's the word. Courage. So, not for
Courage
everyone.
is probably the thing that I
Hmm.
would say is like it's determination. Like it one of the things that's it's a trademark within these relationships is that if it was anyone else, you would walk away.
Mm.
Now, this is a catch 22 because if you're in a false flame or you've created it, right? You think you also can't walk away.
Yep.
Um, and some of these relationships that people have created are very abusive,
Yes.
extremely um abusive, and they put it down to, well, they just need to wake up, and when they get to ABCD, then everything's going to get better, and he's going to stop using me, or going to stop abusing me, they're going to stop using drugs or whatever it is. um and that's just not the
Nope. Sometimes in a twin flame journey, the most important aspect is to actually take a pause and some time away or some distance. You Love in general has a misconception of there being like the right answer for the best experience of love and relationships, and that is going to be mutually understood, it is going to be reciprocated, there's always going to be a compromise that works for everyone, and that's not the case in general, especially when you're journeying through intense lessons of love. um there's not gonna be a direct straight answer on what is the best thing to do. You just won't know. You will have to just go by the best assumption of what you can take in terms of care, responsibility, compassion for yourself as well as the other, and accountability and responsibility for where you're going and how you gotta get there. If it's actually trying to help the person as they're going through addiction or abuse or what have you else, then that is that. If it's just to be there for a bit and then go away, then it's that. If it's, to get together and stay forever, that's also like another option, but it might also not happen. Maybe you come together to completely drive each other nuts to take a pause apart so you can process like all of the things that bother you about each other and what you need to fix for yourselves to actually see the mirror of what is the darkest shadow within yourself. That is actually a really big, difficult part of it, but also a huge blessing in learning. Um, and it is definitely something that is best done, um, as I said, with care and respect, but also at the right fucking time. Don't rush it. Don't take like the lead on thinking that what's the best course of action. Twin flame relationships are very mutable. They're really flexible, and they don't stay the same for very long at all. They all are always ever changing, constantly readapting, and there's always a dance in how the mirroring is working. There's no real constant besides the point of unconditional love and whatever you're going through to heal the separation, pain, or loss.
100%. And think this is an important point to add at this point. There is a huge misconception within the spiritual community that, to be with your twin flame ultimately how you're going to have the most amount of soul growth in a lifetime.
Yep.
This isn't true. In fact, if you have a negative experience with your twin flame, you can actually send yourself backwards significantly. Versus if you were to be like, you know what, I'm out, I'm not dealing with this, I'm going to go spend my life with a soulmate and have a loving, caring relationship, you may grow 10 times as much than you would if it was with your twin flame.
Missed all that because my headset died and people could see that, and I'm also sorry because you're gonna have to deal with some shitty audio background from my end when I speak. Yep, this is done in a pinch. It's one of those days.
hmm um, so I guess for Yuda's benefit, I'm going to repeat that because I also think that there's probably also someone else out there as well that needs to hear this again, which is the fact that um, sometimes being with your twin flame is actually more damaging to you and will actually send you backwards as a soul or not give you the soul growth that you could get at the highest level. Whereas if you choose a soulmate, which we have many soulmates. If you choose a soulmate, you would have enormous growth, more so than with your twin flame. And that comes down to the fact that there isn't as many ties and obligations, and um, the mirror isn't necessarily as strong with soulmates. It can still be strong, don't get me wrong. Um, it can 100% be strong, but it can also be there for a period of time and then it can take a break and step back and you can have a bit of, chilled, happy life without the need to consistently keep changing.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Um, and in general, aspiring more towards like a healthy experience of a relationship, whoever it might be with, soulmate or no soulmate, is probably the most best aspiration to have in the long term because then you will actually find the person that you need to come with, like to actually make that relationship, union, family, whatever it is, work and uh, do the healing process. And it's still gonna help you on the twin flame journey too. You really just don't need, like, if you're working on yourself, whoever it's with, it's gonna work. Um, Twin
Mm.
flame journeys are way more fluffed up to be great and sugar coated to be amazing and just the thing you want, like, yeah, like get me on this ride. You get on the ride and it's like, please get me off the ride. That's basically it. Most of the time, from my experience, as I've spoken to people on the internet about it, everyone is like cool about it before it happens, and then once it happens, they're losing their shit. Everyone around them is also kind of slightly losing their shit because it's weird and it's intense and it's confusing. It is quite something. So don't
And
over
and
glamorize it.
and that's funnily enough why, like, when I first heard about twin flames, I actually didn't believe that I was experiencing a twin flame relationship because I was like being sold this Hollywood story and I'm like, this isn't what I'm getting. Like, obviously I'm not in this. um like, obviously it's something else. And then over a period of time I had to like terms with, hang on a second, like I'm on this journey even if it's not necessarily even similar to what most people experience. Um and what I will say is there was a period of time where I was alone and I was doing the work and I didn't necessarily know if I was going to meet that person. But what I did know was by doing the work on myself, I was improving my life. I was improving um my relationships. I was improving the types of relationships I allowed into my life. Um and one of the questions, and this is the question that I ask people, is if this wasn't your twin flame, and this is a question you can ask yourself. And this is even, you can even ask this question, not as on the twin flame level, which I'll do that one after this one. If this wasn't your twin flame, would you still be in a relationship?
So
If it's
important.
someone that if it's someone you've been in a long-term relationship, if this wasn't the person that I've been in a long-term relationship with, would I still be in a relationship with? Do I still invest? Now, I'm not saying give in straight away. I'm just saying look at the reality of the situation. Are you and the other person prepared to buy into the relationship? Are you prepared to do the work that's needed to have the healthy relationship and the relationship you truly desire and want? If the answer is no, you're better off cutting your losses and going and finding someone that you can have that relationship with. We don't need another 5,000, 10,000, 10,000,000 broken relationships out there. We need healthy, happy, stable relationships and families, whether they are twin flames, soulmates, you know, first lifetime relationships, whatever it is. It doesn't matter what they are. We just need those healthy, happy relationships.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And in general, the point is also helping like have that become a thing in general across the board. If you do that for yourself, as I said, again, I don't know why someone needs to hear this again, but it will ripple out. It will trickle out, regardless of what type of relationship it is, soulmate or otherwise. It still has a humongous effect for everyone, and that's what everyone should be aiming for.
Mm. Because the results of you being in that toxic, unhealthy, karmic, whatever the words you want to say, unloving, uncaring relationship, not something that meets your needs, and they're not prepared to meet your needs and prepared to work with you to try and get to even like a point where it's not perfect. Relationships aren't perfect, but better. Um, in the long term, it's never going to work. Or you're going to have to sacrifice and make yourself into a martyr. And are you prepared to lose yourself and lose an aspect of who you are? Because in that process of sacrifice, you will lose a part of yourself. Guaranteed.
Yeah, I don't know. I also wanted to mention the point that when you meet your twin, if you meet your twin, this might actually happen for absolutely any relationship. You're gonna need to get over that little loop inside everyone's head because this is kind of common in general if you go love crazy. This isn't just for twin flames. It's a lot more intense if you're having a twin flame experience. But if you get into that loop, you're not gonna make the most out of any relationship that is there to open you up for something more or better for yourself or within relationships with others.
Mm.
Um, so yeah,
It's it 100% is. It's the you've got to be willing to open yourself and up and do the work and meet someone and cooperate with them.
and be okay if it doesn't happen. It has to be both things at once. You can't have one without the other, and the middle road is paved with balancing both of those and trying your best to like be okay with yourself within yourself with all the circumstances and etc. And please, for the God loving everything of everything, don't shame yourself if someone is having whatever experience, reaction, just anything because of what you're doing for yourself or how you're having your experience or what you need to be talking about or anything. Like, if that affects someone else, and if it's your twin or if it's not your twin, you have to be okay with that. It's okay. Like, you having your whatever love journey is always going to have a big impact. And if it's going to, let's say, blow up in your face or be this thing or the other thing, there's no mistakes. It's just a point of kind of going through it the best way you can, or you have to, and not knowing where the result is gonna go, or just be really gentle with yourself. The heart is a fragile, lovely little place where your soul lives, and it's kind of really important to love that place, primarily.
But I guess the main point we're making, like we started this by explaining what twin flames are,
Yeah.
right? And what the different types are. But the reality is, and this is gonna, like, some people are gonna be like, no, this is untrue. The reality is finding a healthy, stable relationship is the goal,
Hmm.
not your twin. You know, it might not even be a soulmate. It's obviously not gonna be a karmic. And unless it's a karmic that is also a soulmate, which is possible, and you work through the karma, and then you get to a point where you can have that happy, healthy, stable relationship, which does happen. But you've you've got to be able to put the work in to get there. If you're not going to put in the work, it's not going to get there. Nor is it, as well, these relationships aren't going to show it up at your door.
Yep. And one of the most lovely things I've heard since the beginning of me getting into any of this stuff that really does matter a lot is, uh, I'm not gonna lie. You know how we say someone wipes an idea from your mind? I seriously just
Mm.
got wiped because something or someone did not want to hear the point I just wanted to make. If I would rewatch the video, I would actually know word for word what I was about to say, but now I can't grab it out of my mind and it's annoying me. Whoever's doing that, and I feel like whoever you are that you're doing this, I don't like you. If I meet you, I'm gonna slap you because I'll know it was you and I'll be like, "Stop doing that. That is not cool. That is very much not cool." Ugh. And the twin flame relationship is primarily a journey for you to be led closer to yourself and your heart and your self-love and finding out what that actually means from the core depths of your soul. And that is a lot because you have to work with so much trauma about and around love in so many different perspectives and multiple dimensions, and you experience the whole amplitude of all that it is. Um, and it's primarily a blessing. Don't go for the curse of it.
I mean, very true.
Um, hmm. Yeah, so I'm just gonna be like real and say that, hey, this is not an easy topic to cover. At least for me, it's not. I haven't ever really spoken about stuff like this, and besides that, like this topic in general is kind of emotionally charged if you yourself are on the journey, or have like had somewhat of an experience with it. And a really important thing, at least for me personally, on the journey or as it started out, a really important aspect was realizing that, hey, you don't necessarily know where this is going. And at the same time, you're going to have your emotions, your feelings, everything, maybe even a certain level of awareness. But that doesn't mean that there's going to be any certain circumstance or result from that. only thing you really kind of know is you met a person that you unconditionally love, and you're gonna hope for the best for them, or whatever the relationship is, and you're just maybe getting a guarantee that they're gonna help you with something, or having a really important conversation, or this, that, and the other. You might not even have them around for that long, so don't get caught up or crazy about it ending up a certain way or being a certain thing. I know that got reiterated, but that is really kind of difficult when you first start out. Um, and you get into, all of these either ideas or read up a bunch of stuff and honestly get lost within the huge attraction and the longing and the everything at the once, and it's a lot. It's a lot. Don't, don't lose yourself. At the end of the day, you're a human. You have to experience yourself practically. Emotions are great. We love emotions, but you also have to balance yourself to have a great time with anyone or within any circumstance, whatever it is going to be about for you, what it's going to bring.
100% agree. I mean, it's normal to go through a obsession phase at the very early stage of whether it's a false flame, fake flame, whatever it is. It's normal to go through that phase. Um, but that doesn't mean it's healthy, and that doesn't mean that we can't do things to help us ground and stay within reality of what's actually truly going on, and what it is we truly desire.
Yep, that is exactly it.
And I think on that note, I think we're actually gonna leave it there for today. I know that this is a huge topic and we have not even really dipped our toe into it. Um, so this is something that is going to be spoken about in many episodes to come,
Yep,
because love, relationships, and their relationships, I'm not talking about romantic relationships, I'm talking about friendships and family relationships, is such an integral part of our life, whether you're looking at it from a spiritual perspective or just in the like 3D basic reality sense. And there is so much information and knowledge that you can acquire to help get the relationships you truly dream and desire for.
yep, that is exactly it. Um, and in general, love is one of the most interesting topics to dive into and talk about. It's also one of the most important ones to kind of ponder about and daydream within one's life. Everything comes from love, and everything is built on love. So there's
All you
gonna
need is love.
all you need is love. That's exactly it. So yeah, we're probably like that is the one constant like topic that's gonna come back over and over and over again, regardless of what we're even talking about, is love. So for the time being, this is great on what the fuck are twin flames? This was fun.
I'm Jessica.
I'm Yita Jazz. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey. We're gonna get to the catchphrase, but I am still gonna make an ad because you survived this long on such a interesting episode. Etsy for readings, clearings, and as well as astral body clearings and bioenergy healings now as well. There's some updates. There's the links at below. We also do lives on Twitch for readings and cool little reviews on our episodes, and we dive deeper in on a more of a personal note with viewers. So if anything, please do check out all of that good stuff below, and also check out our Instagram if you need a pick me up, because that's just our fluffed up a bunch of creative, you know, good jazz type of site for us. So, anything else?
At Awaken. awaken.dreaming is
Yeah.
the Instagram. But, send us a message.
Mhm.
Love to hear from you.
Exactly that. So,
All right.
yeah, it's been great. This is Awaken Dreaming and
It's time to stop dreaming and it's time to start
living.
living.
Are we
Yay.
gonna? I swear we're gonna actually sync that up one day and like make it a whole. It's gonna be like an April Fool's or whatever episode. We're kind of like.
No, it's just going to be an every episode thing. What are you talking about?
Oh really? We're gonna make it official and rehearse. Oh great, nice. Have a good one, guys.
Yeah.